Hi, I'm Melanie from English Doctor, and today I'll be speaking to you a bit about how I learned Spanish. Following that, we'll have our first lesson together. Vamos! I decided to do a first degree at the University of the West Indies, Mona, in Kingston, and I chose Spanish as my major, French as my minor. We had excellent professors from a litany of Spanish-speaking countries, including Spain, Cuba, Costa Rica, and El Salvador, to name a few. When I finished my degree at the University of the West Indies, I participated in a cultural exchange program and went to Colombia to live for a year. In Colombia, I taught English as a second language at a university, and I spent the year traveling the country with my friends and representing Jamaica. Colombia is a beautiful country, by the way. You should visit it if you have not yet done so. As a believer, before I went to Colombia, I remember asking God to take my Spanish to higher heights. Because though I had a degree in Spanish, I knew a lot about grammar and could write like a native, I struggled with speaking it because there weren't many people in Jamaica to practice with. When they say be careful what you pray for, you really should. I was placed at a university in Ibagué, Colombia, and when I arrived in Ibagué, I was taken aback by how small the city was. See, most of my friends who were in the program were in Bogota. And Bogota is a huge city bustling with life. That's where I wanted to be. I was sad that I got placed far away from my friends, but in retrospect, that was the best thing that could have happened to me. God answered my prayer to take my Spanish to higher heights because in Ibagué, there were not many people who spoke English. So I was forced to use my Spanish every single day. In Bogota, there were many people who spoke English in the stores, the banks, etc. So my friends who were there had to be super intentional about learning Spanish or perfecting their Spanish. In Ibagué, I also met some wonderful people like Elizabeth, Sol, Maria, and Millie, and they corrected my speech until I became super fluent. I would read an article every single day, extract new words from it, and study them. I watched telenovelas with subtitles at first, then removed the subtitles after about 3 months. If you wish to learn Spanish properly, this is the advice I would give you based on my experience. Advice number 1, learn the grammar from someone who has learned it from scratch. Number 2, make friends with native speakers from a variety of different countries so they can help you correct your accent and understand fast speech. Most Spanish speakers speak quickly. Number 3, lose your ego. Embrace the criticism of your accent, your pronunciation, etc. Number 4, learn at least 5 new words per day and start using them in your conversations immediately. 5, travel to a Spanish-speaking country as often as you can and for as long as you can so you can immerse yourself in the language and culture. 6, don't underestimate the complexity of the language. Sometimes I hear people say, oh, Spanish is easy. You just say, hola, ¿cómo estás? As they say in Spanish, ojalá, I wish. Make a plan if you're serious and stick to it. Decide how many minutes or hours per day you can dedicate to learning the language, and don't give up until you do. Spanish is a complex language, but with a good teacher, you'll be fine. Now that you've heard a bit about my experience, let's begin our first lesson together. Hola, bienvenidos a la clase de español. Hi, welcome to Spanish class. Los temas de hoy son, the topics for today are 1. El abecedario o el alfabeto. 1. The alphabet. Dos, los números de 0 a 100. 2, numbers from 0 to 100. 3, los pronombres personales. 3, subject pronouns. Y 4, unas expresiones populares. 4, some popular expressions. Empecemos con el abecedario. Let's begin with the alphabet. Please repeat after me. A, animal. B, boca. C, centro. D, duda. E, elefante. F, finca. G, girasol. H, honor. I, iglesia. J, Jamaica. K, koala. L, loro. M, mente. N, nido. Ñ, piñata. O, olor. P, pintar. Q, quilate. R, radio. S, santo. T, tiempo. U, unido. B, ventana. W, waffle. X, xenofobia. Y, yoga. Z, zorro. All right, so those are the letters of the alphabet in Spanish. And you'll notice that they have similar sounds to the letters in English, especially the consonants, but there are some differences that I would like to point out. The first one, and we're going back to this slide, is that G is he. So there's like a slight H sound, and therefore girasol, which is the word for sunflower, is girasol, right? H is H. In English, we have that sound, but in Spanish, it's omitted. The Spanish word for hospital is hospital, okay? For J, it's jota, which is again kind of like an H, but it's more emphatic. So the Spanish word for Jamaica is Jamaica. For N, you'll notice that there are two N's. There is the regular N in nido, which is a nest, like a bird's nest. And then you have Enye, Enye, which is an N with a tilde on top of it. When you see that, you should say N. And that's why we say piñata, piñata. For the V, it's be commonly, but in Spain, they call it ube. You will also hear it being referred to as B corta or B chica. For W, it's W commonly, but you also hear it being referred to as V doble. And then for Y, in Europe, in Europa, it's Y, but in Latin America, in America Latina, se dice Y. In Latin America, they say Y. Okay. So now we're going to turn our focus to the vowels, las vocales, las vocales. And the vowels in Spanish, las vocales en español, son A, E, I, O, U. I've heard people come up with a beat, a catchy little rhythm that helps them to remember it. And if it helps you, then by all means, just sing along, right? So it goes a, e, I, o, u. 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 My Spanish teacher in high school, or one of my Spanish teachers, Mr. Fong Kong, also taught us a little song that combines M with all the vowels, and then it tells you what sound M plus A will make, and then M plus E, M plus I, M plus O, M plus U. And we can replace M with any other consonant, and the sounds are going to be the same essentially. So I'm going to sing that song for you, and perhaps this will also help you to remember the vowels and the combinations, right? So the song goes like this. Las vocales en español, las vocales en español. A, E, I, O, U. La M con la A dice ma. La M con la E dice me. Con la I dice mi. Con la O dice mo. La M con la U dice mu. A, E, I, O, U. Sí, señor. Sí, señor. All right, so those are the vowels. I also wanted to point out that some words in Spanish will begin with two L's. For example, on the screen, you see the verb LLAMAR, which is a Spanish verb meaning to call. Whenever this happens, the double L's can be pronounced in three main ways. There's the SH pronunciation, so shamar. There's the J pronunciation, llamar, and there's the Y pronunciation, llamar. The pronunciation will vary based on the region and the country, but I wanted to point this out as it is important. Now we're going to start putting consonants and vowels together and spell words. And you will realize that words in Spanish are spelled way easier than they could ever be spelled in English. It's very straightforward. So the Spanish word for head is la cabeza, la cabeza. How do you think that is spelled? All right, so the Spanish for head is C, A, B, E, Z, A, cabeza. Then we have mouth, which is la boca. And how do you think that is spelled? All right, la boca se deletrea. Mouth is spelled B-O-C-A, boca. Then we have hand, which is la mano, la mano. ¿Cómo se deletrea? How do you spell la mano? Mano se deletrea M-A-N-O. Okay? Muy bien. And then we have Saturday, which in Spanish is el sábado. El sábado. You'll notice that there's an emphasis on the first syllable, sa, el sábado. When that happens, there's typically an accent on the vowel in that syllable. So in sábado, there's going to be an accent on that first A. We'll talk much more about this in future lessons. Ahora vamos a continuar con los números. Now we're going to continue with the numbers. First, we're going to tackle 0 to 10. Those are the most common ones. And then we're going to do 11 to 19. We'll do it in stages. So please repeat after me. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so those are 0 to 10. 11 to 19, it goes like this. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. All right. So if you look at 16, 17, and 18, you will see some familiarity, right? It's almost like they took 10, which is 10, and they combined it with 6. And 10 plus 6 really does give you 16, right? So 16 is 16. They've replaced the Z with a C, and then they've included an I and the number 6. The same thing goes for 17, for 18, and for 19. But please notice the accent on seis in number 16, okay? 20 is 20, 20. And 21 through 29 will go through a similar pattern as 16, 17, 18, and 19. So 20 is 20, 21 is 21. So we replace the E in 20 with an I, and then we add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 21 is 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, and it goes on. You'll notice that there's also an accent in 22, 23, and 26. Okay? From 30 to 99, from 30 to 99, there's kind of a different pattern. Things change a little bit. So you combine 30 with the same numbers, but this time you're going to use a Y in between 30 and the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that Y in Spanish is pronounced E, right? And it means and, okay? So 31, for example, is 31. 32, 32. 33, 33. And it continues all the way down to 39. Now, you'll scarcely hear a Spanish speaker say 35. You know, they tend to speak a little bit faster, right? So they'll say 35. And then 40 to 49 will follow the same pattern as 30 to 39. 40 is 40, 41, 41, 42, 42, 43, 43. And that goes down to 49, which is 49. And then 50 is 50, same pattern. 60, 60, same thing. 70, 70, same thing. 80, 80, same thing. 90, 90, same thing. And 100 is 100. So you study 1 through 15, and then you make sure you study 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90, right? And then you will easily be able to count from 1 to 100 because of those patterns. So there's an expression in Spanish which says, la práctica hace al maestro. And in English, that's practice makes perfect, okay? So given what you just learned, I want you to contemplate the following numbers. How do you think we say 88 in Spanish? Let's go back to the previous slide. And 80, as a reminder, is 80. So how do you say 88? All right. If you guessed 88, you've got it. All right. The next one is 35. How do we say 35 in Spanish? And that one is actually already done for you. If you look at the slide, 35 is there. Okay. And then 99. How do you say 99 in Spanish? 99. Muy bien. Okay. So there we have it. You can now count from 0 to 100. Buen trabajo. Now we're going to look at the subject pronouns in both Spanish and English. In English, the subject pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, we, you all, and they. All right? In Spanish, I is yo, or you will also hear people say yo. You can be either tú, usted, or vos, right? So tú is informal you. You use it with people you're very familiar with, people you've known for a long time, family members, people you're comfortable with. They use usted with people not well known, strangers, and people of authority, usted. And then boss is something that I've only seen in recent times. I certainly did not learn about it when I was in college or in high school, but it's used in certain regions and also means you. So don't be surprised if you hear people using boss to say you. I'll also say that usted is a little bit controversial because I remember when I was living in Colombia, I went to Bogota one day and this lady invited my friend and me to dinner. And at dinner, she was referring to her dog as usted. And I was like, what? And the dog was also called Jamaica, which is Spanish for Jamaica. So I found that interesting as well. Nevertheless, let's continue. He is él, she, ella. It can either be él or ella. And please don't go past the accent on L. All right. So it can either be masculine or feminine. As you will learn in subsequent lessons, every single noun in Spanish has a gender. And that's something we're not really used to in English. So we'll talk more about that in the future. We is nosotros or nosotras. Is nosotros when only men are involved in the picture, or a combination of men and women. Okay? So if I want to say that my father and I like a particular thing, then because my father is a male and I'm a female, I would say nosotros. But if it's just females, then we say nosotras. All right? You all is ustedes in most places, but you will also hear vosotros in Spain and other parts. And vosotros also has a masculine form and a feminine form. So vosotros is you all if there is either a combination of men and women or just men involved in the equation. Vosotras would be for just women, right? And then they is ellos or ellas. Now, this pronoun can be used to refer to people, animals, things, whatever, right? So, ellos is used in masculine situations or in situations where, there's masculine and feminine involved. And ellas is just for feminine, right? So once more, I've said this a lot, but we will talk more about this in subsequent lessons and it will become crystal clear to you. All right, so now we have some popular expressions in Spanish. And the first set you should know, hola, ¿cómo está? Or ¿cómo estás? We use ¿cómo está? In the usted form. Somebody you don't know well, somebody of authority. Hola, ¿cómo está? But in the informal context, we say, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? All right. And in responding, we say, bien, gracias, ¿y tú? Informal. Or bien, gracias, ¿y usted? Formal. Okay. Fine, thank you, and you. 3 says, mucho gusto. Nice to meet you. 4, gracias. Thank you or thanks. 5, de nada. Or no hay de qué. No hay de qué. No hay de qué is like a more fancy way of saying you're welcome, but it means the same thing as de nada. 6, mi nombre es. My name is. Or me llamo. My name is. So if I want to present myself, I would say mi nombre es Melanie or me llamo Melanie. Okay. And then we have the expressions buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Día is a masculine word, so we say buenos días. Tarde y noche son femeninas y por eso decimos buenas tardes y buenas noches, okay? For your information, there is a link in the description that will take you to a quiz. Please do complete it and comment in the chat letting me know your results. All right, and that's it for today's introductory lesson. For your homework, I would like for you to learn the numbers from 0 to 100 by heart. There are a litany of songs out there that can help you achieve this. And for the alphabet too, there are a lot of songs that you can listen to really help you to get it, okay? For next time, we're going to learn numbers from 101 to 1,000. And this may sound daunting, but in reality, it's not, because everything with the numbers has to do with patterns, okay? We're also going to learn how to talk about personal information in the next lesson. And we're going to start diving into the simple present. How do I say, for example, I like vanilla ice cream. My brother likes chocolate ice cream. We're going to start constructing grammatically correct sentences. All right. And I would just like to encourage you to please invest the necessary time in learning this language. The fact that I am trilingual or whatever I am has opened up so many doors. When I go to an interview, I'm automatically like the candidate of choice because of this skill that I've developed. So it will take time, it will take effort, and it definitely requires patience, but you can do it. All right? Amigos, gracias por estar conmigo hoy. It is impossible for any teacher to teach you all you need to know about the language. You will have to put in most of the work. I have full confidence in you, however, and will do my best to break it down kindergarten style. It's been my pleasure to present the first lesson today. Please like, share, leave a comment, subscribe to this channel, and turn on your notifications so you can know when the next lesson is posted. I'm aiming for 1 lesson per week, so please be on the lookout. Encourage a friend to join you as well, because that will make your journey so much more meaningful and enjoyable. Hasta la próxima lección. Adiós por ahora.